you are one of us. Your passion is the world of mountain biking, from enduro to gravel races and everything in between. This is Insider MTB, the podcast that takes you behind the handlebars, into the dirt, and behind the scenes of the mountain biking world. And now your host, Austin White.
And I know you love the song. The song is probably the key point to that whole thing.
Yeah, we're popping. It's great. It's popping off.
Yeah. Episode 14, you guys. We had a little weird thing, but yeah, it's switching. This was 14. The next one coming out 15, which won't say 15 on it, but this is 14. This one will be out. This quickie, I guess not quickie, but like a little bit of reverse. I don't know maybe what I'm saying here, but yeah,
Just restart
put
it.
it together. Restart it.
Restart
Restart
this. What
the
are we doing
whole
here?
podcast.
Seriously, though.
All right, you guys. I'm Austin White. This is Spencer Rathkamp, professional
What's up, boys and girls?
stuntman, mountain biker, right? What is your full title now, you think?
No titles.
No titles.
Mm-mm. I
Human.
identify as everything.
Human.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fun haver.
Ford
Life
F-150
liver.
guy.
Truck driver.
Truck driver. Yeah.
Bike rider.
It's a 4x4, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you're a 4x. Is it worse gas or better gas?
A little bit worse, but
A little bit worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a Ford family too. The dad with the Maverick and
That's it.
bikes, and yeah, you're deep.
Yeah,
like it.
But we're here.
Cool, you guys. So for this episode, we are messing around with a little bit of live again, trying to trust the process, which has screwed me over in the past. So Spencer has started to work out his mic issues. Big sponsor of Coca-Cola. And yeah, so we're going to have Jordy on from Fox Factory, and we're going to go a little bit over some UCI stuff, kind of like this mountain bike reform that they've kind of proposed. I guess maybe they say that they're classified documents, but I don't know why Pink Bike would post them. Yeah, dig into that a little bit, and then also talk a little bit about Live Valve Neo and kind of a little bit of that release if we can get some info. And then Jordy's straight up at in New York for the I don't know what round number that is, but
Final
for
one.
what's that?
It's the final round.
No, I think there's one more after that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, there's one more round after it. I have to look at that. But yeah, it's just World Cup.
You're right. MSA.
But if this one's
they were
only
Lake
XC.
Placid. Yeah, XC and XCC.
Yeah.
Yeah, then DH is Mount St. Anne. Yeah, okay.
Completely new venue though.
Yeah, Lake Placid.
Yeah, have you ever been there?
I have not.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah, for sure. I've heard of it.
Really?
Yeah. I definitely, my parents and stuff have definitely been there.
Oh, why would your parents been there?
I don't know. My dad's from the Midwest, and
Oh.
I don't know. My sister lives in New York, and
So this is a popular, I guess it's kind of weird. I mean, I've never heard of the mountain until they obviously announced it for this.
yeah.
Yeah. No more snowshoe.
Well-
This is what takes over.
I'm pretty sure that the Olympics were when they were
Here?
held in New York. No, they had some stuff in out in Lake Placid.
Really?
There's it's fairly outdoorsy little village or town, you want to call it. But yeah, absolutely. They have like ski jumping and stuff there in the winter, and
So it's a decent sized mountain then, I'm guessing. I guess not big enough to have downhill though, right?
yeah, there's nothing huge in New York, though they did have Wyndham and stuff there, which was also a downhill World Cup at one point in New York, but I don't think that there's anything that big out there, but hopefully it draws a lot of people, and
Yeah.
USXC can keep
So
growing.
from what I heard is, and I'm not even 100% if this is true, real or whatever, the reason why they didn't go with snowshoe is because they're just looking for this new place that's going to happen in Arkansas, and they just needed like a 1 year step. Snowshoe didn't want that. I don't know if you've heard any of that, but we might be seeing Arkansas in 2025. I don't know if that's real, or 2026 maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're probably also just continually looking for the next thing, because as good as snowshoe is for racing, it's very
middle of nowhere.
It's 4 hours from any airport, which makes it pretty difficult to get to. So yeah, trying something new. I think it's a little easier to get to Lake Placid. Not that there's downhill there, but they're just looking, and who knows, this new venue in Arkansas. We'll
Have you
see.
heard much on it or no?
Not a lot, but just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Tell me about it. Were you just there?
No, I was not
No,
there.
Okay.
I
You were
may
in
have drove
Arkansas.
by it, flew a
Ah.
plane over it, stuff like that. Can't talk. NDA, big deal, Sorry.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Dog.
right.
Big dog.
No one cares a fuck about me. All right, cool. But yeah, so I mean, typically American World Cups have been kind of interesting, I guess you could say, right? What do you know on the history of American World Cups? Nothing.
You're asking the wrong guy for history.
Wrong guy. Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've been in.
Have you been to any
Paying-
when they
paying
came to America?
I have never been to a World Cup. Yeah, no, I actually haven't. I haven't been to any of them, but I've been to some of the venues and stuff. But I've seen them come and seen them go in the 10 to 12 years that I've been riding bikes, and yeah, I think it's been deemed pretty important to have something in the U.S. and there's been a lot of growth here in the U.S. and they're trying to keep it here. Obviously, we don't have a downhill World Cup in the U.S. anymore for this year, but they still kept the XC race here. And yeah, North America is pretty prominent and a very good place to ride your bicycle, no matter what type of bicycle you are on. And it's a huge market, so they need to have race here in the U.S. And I think they learned that with Enduro when it was EWS. They needed a U.S./North American round, and then now the EDR was just the European Enduro race series. But it's all good. Figure it out. And
well, maybe we should let Jordy in, and he can maybe
he'll-
answer some more of that, right?
well, that guy'll definitely know a lot more than we do.
All right, let me click
That's for
this
sure.
button. What's up, Jordy? Dude, all right, you guys, we are kind of recording live right now. So we're just sending it, but that we're just a goofy podcast like that. And works for you. Awesome. Okay. Jordy tuning in on his iPad over here. He already said he had the app and everything. Kind of stalked his profile. Looks like he's deep in the podcast game, so he already gets it. Sometimes. Cool. All right, you guys.
Forget stuff.
Our main guest for this evening, Jordy from Fox Factory. Is that the best way to kind of put it?
Yep, that's fine.
Perfect. Jordy, do you know Spencer Rathkamp, or have you guys crossed paths?
I think we met years and years ago.
Yep, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
When I was kind of a little grom on the show air program, same deal with Ty and Keegan. It was the same.
Yeah, Mac Flaxton. Yeah,
exactly.
back in the early days.
Yep, absolutely. But good to see you. Hope all's been
You too.
well. Excited to talk to you here for a little bit.
And I've met Jordy like once in my life at a giant and test session for like 5 minutes. I was a filmer there, and you were.
Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah. Then when Adam Craig just totally sliced his leg open.
Yep.
And new Fox 38s were coming out, and I was just picking your brain on it every second. Total newbie in mountain biking, just like, hey, what's this do? Can I get them on my bikes?
Yeah.
And then we have a mutual friend, Rob Salcido.
Oh yeah.
And he
Actually,
was like,
Tooth just texted me.
no way. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So, like, what is your exact? Because at that time you were freelance for Fox, right?
No, I was employed by Fox.
You were. Okay.
I've always worked for the race department. That was an OE thing, but since I know all those guys, and honestly, back in the early days, things were really small. Everybody kind of did everything. So if they needed somebody from race department to do OE stuff, then that was fine.
Love it. What is your exact title then?
Global race department manager.
All right. Nice.
And what does that mean?
Yeah. What is?
Don't ask me.
Awesome.
It means, I guess, I manage anything to do with bike racing.
Okay. So you know the new shit before it's even out. Way before.
Well, I would hope
I
so.
would hope so. Sometimes I get caught up guard too, because I do travel a fair bit. But yeah, I should know the new shit.
All right, nice. All right, well then I guess let's just segment straight into, well, actually, the Neo. Who loves Matrix at the company that called it Neo, or is that out of that land?
We got some pretty solid engine nerds there. Like, I guarantee you, the electronics guys came up with that, and we're so stoked.
That's all right.
I mean, how much of that was underneath you and you using it and testing and all that stuff?
Oh man, we've been using that stuff a long time. It's probably one of the longest term projects pre-launch. I mean, we raced it at EWS 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Jeffy Melamed won the overall on that shock. It's funny how it went under the radar.
How did no
People were
photos
just-
land on Pink Bike?
I have no idea.
You had to be standing there like, how are they not getting a photo of this right now, right?
Yep. It was pretty amazing.
Wow. Okay.
And
So
Richie raced it most of last year, as well as Yoon and Alex Trudeau, like winning EWSs. Martin, it's like, it's unreal how long that shock's been around in development, and nobody's really been like, whoa, what's this?
that's insane. Like SRAM does a derailleur and someone shoots it from 3 miles away, and
Yeah.
you guys are winning races on it, and no one even seen. Like, you had to have built it differently, right? Like, it must have been
No,
tucked in there.
it's exactly the same.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So then I guess Enduro guys, it's not a joke. Richie in the video, and they really are. You guys are racing on it and winning.
Oh yeah, fully, 100%.
Is downhill guys?
We've gone back and forth. Like, Nico's team has been doing development work with that shock. So Asa and Angel and Nico have been racing it. They're set up in a different way than the Enduro guys, where the Enduro guys are actually using the off-the-shelf algorithm, and like, they're using the bump sensors, and Nico's guys are primarily using on-off buttons, like a left and a right.
Oh, really?
And yeah, we're using them to see how far we can push it, and to figure out different ways of using it.
Now, is that because of the jumps?
That's part of it.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
my biggest thing on it. And I personally love live valve personally, minus all the wires, but I'm super confused on if I'm hitting a pretty gnarly jump and it's set in that setting to change the angle, what's going to happen?
You won't even know that you're riding live valve.
Oh, really? It's not going to
Yeah.
stiffen up because it thinks I'm hitting an uphill.
It's the most invisible system.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I think Dario kind of talked about it a bit on Pink Bike as well. Like, it's so hard to tell when it's on or off. And
Hey.
not because it's not doing anything, but because the way it does it is so fast and seamless that it just kind of blends in.
I just, to me, it seems like, because they were saying how fast it can switch, and you guys are obviously 100 times faster than Bluetooth, 20 times than everyone else. And I'm like, so is my front wheel going to be all perfect off this lip, and then the rear is just going to just boom? But I'm
Nah.
okay. All right. Then I'm sold. I need the best of everything when I ride, by the way. Just S-Works,
Yeah.
top of the line.
Dude, I'm with you.
Yes, that's me. Gucci boy for sure.
That's why I had to start working at Fox, because I sucked so bad at riding bikes that I needed the best stuff.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Spencer doesn't believe in this strategy. He's like the opposite of me. No maintenance on the bike, just runs whatever, and he'll still beat me every time. It's
I wish I could
devastating.
do that.
Well, that's only partially true, but sure. Good enough. It doesn't
98%.
take too much to sell Austin on stuff. So I don't know, for someone that is a dummy like me, what is there any difference between the old live valve and the Neo, or is it just that it's Bluetooth now?
No, it's completely different.
Okay.
Anything that could be different is different. The
Okay.
only thing that carries over is what we use to actuate the bypass inside the shock.
Okay.
So we developed this little solenoid that's part of the reason that it's so fast. And that's literally the only part that goes from one shock to the other.
Interesting. Okay.
Is that why it took longer to come out, I'm guessing, since the last
Man.
iteration?
There were just there was a lot of iterations. Like the original live valve was way more XC trail oriented, and it probably shouldn't have been at the time. Like it was kind of a convoluted mix of a slightly overweight shock with an XC program, and it didn't really work out that well. Like it performed well, but it was way too heavy to race XC on.
Yeah. And that was with Keegan, right?
That was with Keegan, yeah. And Keegan actually really loved it, and we did a bunch of work on it, but it was a temperamental thing.
Oh.
And the new one is completely different.
Wow.
Plus, it's just a shock. It's way more gravity oriented.
So I have this weird
making-
theory on like that live valve and all that, and everyone doing this. It sets your bike up. Is this going to help bike manufacturers in the sense of like they can just have shittier geos because you guys are taking over the reins of fixing their issues?
I think it's almost the opposite, like exactly what you're saying, but they don't need to have shitty kinematics to make a bike pedal, or, from what they think. You can just make a bike that is going to be really good at descending and use the shock to make it pedal.
Okay. Interesting. Because so I've always, when I was I had a Giant with live valve on it. I would just do this less air and it would just cheat it for me. Like in the corners, it felt great. And then it would just stiffen itself up. Are people hacking it or doing it that way now? Or is that like, what do you see? Is that something or no?
Sort of. Like it is in a way. I think Richie set his up so that the firm mode was actually quite soft, but it would activate frequently. So it was almost like 2 compression settings. Whereas Nico is the opposite. He was fully firm and would use it to generate speed, like on jump landings and things like that, where you would generally bottom way out and go way to the back of the bike. This would hold it up and drive you forward. Wow. So it's not really a hack. It's like this thing is so flexible, just go do whatever you want. And with the little app, you can kind of just figure stuff out. And if you don't like it, erase it and go right back.
Yeah, and kind of cater this. Go ahead. Cater this whole thing to your riding style and what you like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is going to allow people to build bikes that are way better at descending without having to focus so much on pedaling.
Okay. So then, here you go. Does it take a little bit less off of your hands with like changing shim stacks and switching stuff, or is it more now?
It's probably more now because you have an electronic side of it, and you have the normal internals of a functional gravity shock.
Okay. I would hope that it would take a little bit off your hands, right? Like
that'd be wonderful.
No, Sean, more tech in it. That doesn't mean less work, unfortunately.
I get it.
For maintenance, not that I know much about maintenance, but more tech, more problems.
I mean, do you have to have more of a maintenance program then with this type of stuff, or is it same,
It's the same.
Yeah.
And if you want to, you just push the button. I mean, I guess that's more. Like you do have to charge the battery.
Yeah.
But you really don't have to do anything extra if you don't want to.
For electronics,
Yeah. So is it the same how the old live valve, the battery's dead, or not battery? Yeah, the battery was dead. It just goes into regular shock mode.
Yeah, it's just a normal shock. So it's like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
All right. Well, Spencer will be running it with the battery off. I already know. We'll be halfway through the ride, and I'll be like, "Hey, you should turn that on."
Oh, it's dead. Sorry. So then, switching kind of gears just a little bit, and if we want to go back to the Neo topic, we can. But I'm just very curious how much time and work have you put in with the Genie shock with the new Specialized stump jumper?
Zero.
Okay, cool. Because I'm not the tech guy.
Yeah,
I've been riding it and I really like it, and I don't really know that much of that many reasons of why I like it so much, but I understand what it's supposed to do and what it's supposed to be like, but I have no idea what's internally.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't have to know all these things to understand it, or to understand that it works better.
Yeah.
Like if you hop on and you're like, whoa, this thing's sweet.
Yeah,
I have no idea what it's doing, but I like it.
exactly.
That's perfectly okay. And I think
Sounds
that's
about
probably a benefit for most people.
Yeah, I don't think
Most people probably don't want to think about this stuff.
Yeah. I get lost in the sauce on it. I love that stuff. And maybe that's the
I do
moto
too,
in me.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you think that this stuff is going to land in moto soon, or well, I mean, you see a little bit of stuff like that. Could it work?
I don't know.
Could it work?
Feel like you gotta figure out air shocks first for moto before they start bringing in all the electronic stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, you guys obviously make it for trucks, cars,
Yeah.
and it's working there. You're racing Baja 1000 on it, and it's gnarly.
Yeah. I
So,
think there's probably some type of place for it in moto, but I'm not the guy to tell you where that would be. It does seem like current, like moto, supercross, there's very little time spent like cruising a flat section where you need a nice stable bike. There's got to be electronics involved sooner or later.
Yeah.
The question is in what form and what they're going to do.
Yeah.
well, I think they would love it. I mean, my thought would be is you love it coming into a corner, pops it right back up, you hit the whoop section, and then drops it back down for the next corner.
Yeah.
I don't know how it knows
I
that.
know like in years past when they've tried to do that stuff, or especially road racing where they've tried to build linkage front ends that mimic automotive suspension, like so they
Yeah.
can correct for anti-dive, and nobody likes it because everybody's learned
How to ride the other way.
how to ride a certain way, and then the bike doesn't do it, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, there's no weight transfer. This doesn't work. I can't.
It makes
But
so
I-
much sense.
Like, it's like it'll be something that happens, but it's probably going to be gradual, and it won't be the way we think. It's not going to be like a bike where it's like you want it to sit up 100% and then you want it to be open 100%.
So you're not working
it
on-
would be two completely different
Yeah.
settings that would make sense for like the super motocross platform.
Probably,
where half
yeah.
the track is outdoor style and half the track is supercross style, where they need
Yeah.
a softer and a more firm setting depending on what section you're in. But I don't know. I feel like they've adapted the moto world has adapted a little bit with like launch control stuff and things like that, changing into the starting grates with launch control, so you're basically never like burning out.
I could see a suspension setting for that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think there's a lot to be learned with buttons and more things that distract you from doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I think supercross athletes, downhill riders, enduro riders, when you're doing your job, you're focused 100%. And if you add any peripheral, you're detracting from that focus.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
I think I'm not saying that it's not going to happen and that some buttons aren't good, but that somewhere along the line, there's going to be too much.
Yeah.
And
That
you're going to
makes-
be faster just focusing on riding.
They talk about that in moto too. It's like at a certain point, you just got to ride the bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure that comes, I mean, that leads me into your next thing, like with these XC guys and how the courses have changed and you're there this weekend. How much of it is just like, dude, you just got to ride the bike. You have to, when you're working with an XC guy.
Man. It's a lot. It's a lot in downhill and enduro as well. It's primarily an athlete driven sport.
Yeah.
You can win on crap. It's
Yeah.
just a lot easier to win on a really good setup, and it's better for your head, and you probably crash less when things are the way you want them. A lot of these modern XC tracks we're seeing are not very suspension oriented. They're turning into like really physical BMX tracks in a lot of ways. A little bit wider, bigger jumps, relatively smooth. The track here in Lake Placid looks like that. I can't say 100% because I've only walked part of it, but it's quite smooth from what I've seen. It's going to be really fast, really hard, but it's not like a massive suspension thing.
So I get that leads me into my next thing. You've seen this UCI document that's making the rounds.
I've
I'm
seen
sure
a lot of them.
there is a lot of them. There, I can't
Yeah.
believe someone went in Photoshop and built all these. Like I'm blown
Some
away.
of them have thumbs in them. Some of them have other people's animals in them. Like they're just from everywhere.
I love it. Dude, then 0 to 100 millimeters for XC. Like
Yeah.
you guys all just built these 130s and 120 bikes, and they're fucking killing it. And now this.
We all feel like AI wrote that document. Like it just looked up what XT was, and it's like 100 mil. Oh, trail bikes 130. Because it doesn't really make much sense.
Right? Like, did they not talk to a manufacturer? Did they not talk to you guys? Like, who would have said
No,
this
they
for
absolutely don't.
They don't. Okay.
I promise they're not talking to anybody.
So Enduro to 140 to 160. Like, let's just scrap pretty much all the new Enduro bikes for the last couple years.
Yeah. I don't get it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
If somebody
Like,
wanted to race across country on an enduro bike and can win, more
Go
power
for
to them. Yeah,
Right.
shouldn't or vice
Why
versa.
would they make these regulations? I guess that's confusing.
I don't know. I'm pretty pessimistic about the whole thing. I think they're probably looking to put these events in places that don't have really good enduro trails. So that's an automatic out. You're like, oh yeah, well, here's a cross country venue and we're going to have an enduro race here.
So
Obviously you're going to ride your 140 bike.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, the problem I've found is that if you're going downhill at all, a long travel bike is generally faster. A short travel bike pedals better and climbs better, but there's almost no case where it's faster to ride a short travel bike in a gravity situation, no matter if it's smoother or rough or whatever. Like your 170 enduro bike's going to be faster than your 140 bike.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a dog to get up to the top, but nobody really cares.
Unless you got
Unless
Fox
you're going to start.
Live app, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, then that leads me to wonder, why would you be making the courses? I feel like XC has made this more of extreme courses, but then all of a sudden you're going to limit it to 100 millimeter travel. Like it's very confusing. Like,
Same. Why would that even be a thing? Make the course and let the people decide. Let the manufacturers decide. Pigeonholing travel is just gonna stymie the industry. Really, there's no point in it.
yeah, it does seem like a weird. I don't know how this ended up on the page, if it's going to really happen. But so I guess you're crossing multiple teams or team managers. What is their feelings? What, I mean, not to speak for them, but like, what is the general consensus?
A lot of confusion, I think, just because nobody's getting the same story. And these documents aren't coming out in any legal capacity. They're all being leaked by somebody and somehow. And it's now September, almost October, and we have no schedule. We don't know how many races. We don't know how many teams. Like, it's bad. This is people's livelihood. And definitely people are going to be losing jobs because of rumors.
Well, with that new team regulation, right?
Right?
I don't.
Maybe.
So, I mean, XC says only 20 teams, and then downhill's 40. What? And you can only have 4 people on a team, right? Is that what it's kind of saying? Or is it?
No, you can have 7, I think.
So then, what?
Like, in some ways, this needs to happen.
Yeah.
But like World Cups are kind of a joke. It is a World Cup, and people are showing up on broken equipment, and like in some ways it's cool, like the spirit of just showing up, but in other ways it really does make a mockery of a World Cup.
For sure.
And I do agree that as long as you can get into a World Cup by racing a couple local events, that you will. Like, why wouldn't you? So in some way that needs to change.
Yeah, there
But-
should be some. I'm agree. Like Supercross had this issue for a while, where a guy would get his pro license, had no business being on a Supercross track, and would hurt the top people in our sport, right? And
Yeah.
so in cycling, Spencer over here laughing.
I
But
know a few.
I mean, but is it? I guess an XC, I could see that. But is he hurting someone in downhill, or is it more hurting himself? In an enduro.
A bit of both. Like, I mean, that's kind of a dickhead thing to say, but if you crash, everybody has to wait,
Okay, yeah, true.
right? You get course holds. There's also quite a few venues that cannot support more than 50 or 60 people. Like Leger is one of them.
Yeah.
Lords is another one. Just with uplifts that are so slow that if you have 200 rider fields and everybody's piling into this gondola trying to get to the top, you're not having a very well run event.
Yeah.
And you're getting people on track that are doing 2 runs, and that's not safe.
Yeah. And then on the other side, from the UCI's perspective, or whoever is running these events, it's a business and they got to make money. And what is from a viewership perspective, if the UCI is just trying to make this more of a spectacle, as it says right here on one of these slides, downhill is the spectacle. Well, the person showing up on a broken bike, unless he's in the top 30 and wads his brains out, he's not really adding much to the spectacle. And
No, and it's not good for him either.
exactly. Yeah. So
You're showing up.
Where's the balance? No, that's what it is, right?
Precision
I'm looking at-
chaos, though, is the first thing underneath it. So, I mean, maybe the
Yeah,
broken bike guy is bringing fans. Okay, I'm just saying.
Is there
Yeah, go ahead.
on a more positive note, Jordy? Have you seen anything on any of these documents that you like? That could be a good thing.
I mean, I do like the rider limits. I like the team limits. I don't understand how it's going to function.
Yeah.
And I don't know that this is the best climate in the bike industry to be dropping a bunch of changes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're struggling. And there's a lot of promise of big dollars and money coming in, but I don't quite know how that's going to work. I mean, at the end of the day, mountain bikes are a niche sport, and promoting them to people that have no interest in riding them is going to be a really hard sell.
Yeah.
For some big bike brands, that probably makes sense, maybe for even Shimano or somebody like that, or Giant that's selling commuter bikes and cruisers, maybe at the fringe that translates a little bit. But when you're talking about us or Olin's or somebody that really makes pretty high-end suspension stuff, I don't think your mom's going to watch downhill and then go to the bike shop and be like, oh, that's what Greg Menard rode.
Yeah.
That's the only one I'm buying.
Yeah.
I just don't think those sales are going to translate.
Yeah, I ask that question all the time in moto. Is like, win on Sunday, sell on Monday. But I still also don't fully believe that theory. But yeah,
I don't really either, but I think we're a little bit jaded. And I think in some markets that absolutely does hold true.
Yeah.
But again, somewhere in there's a monetary barrier where people are going to be like, this does not make sense to me.
yeah. And so,
Well,
go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to think of this apples to oranges, at least 2 fruits. Like, if it feels like they're trying to make downhill or just the World Cup circuit, all 3 disciplines, 4 disciplines, if you include Enduro or whatever.
Well, they're getting rid of E Enduro.
Yeah, but it says that at the top, but then it's also added and talked about lower.
It
lower
says
in the thing.
there's a whole other document that's also
it's
done. It's on
which
pause.
probably furthers the argument of this might not even be real, but it feels like they're trying to make this more of like a elitist Formula One type run event series, and that's fine. If you're cheering on Lewis Hamilton, I doubt you're going to go pick out a Mercedes to drive tomorrow if you need a new car. That's not really what it's all about. And I mean, I'm sure that
Mercedes is a sponsor,
Mercedes.
I think.
No, they are. But I'm saying, I don't think that Lewis Hamilton driving a Mercedes F1 car is going to really sell cars. Mercedes would probably argue that, but regardless, my point is that they're not really selling. Manufacturers aren't selling Formula One type cars, and it's not even it's not a marketing thing for sales. Like a Fox might not utilize this so much as a sales avenue, but just a purely a marketing expense, showing what their equipment can do at the highest level, and then trying to sell, which has always been done, the lower end stuff that actually is moving. But it seems like my point is, it seems like it's trying to become more of a viewership based thing, more so than selling race entries or any of that stuff, or selling bikes for that matter. With reading this stuff, doesn't seem like it's for the sport of mountain biking. It's for the benefit of
Coca-Cola.
bringing more viewers in. Yeah.
We just froze for a minute. No, I agree. I think like the term Formula One. Can you guys still hear me?
Oh yeah, we get you.
Oh, okay. Mine's saying
Lake Placid Wi-Fi is kicking ass.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Hey, it's
This
already
is way
budget
better
cuts.
than a
It's
lot.
already budget cuts.
Upstate New
But
York.
it's like Formula One gets thrown around all the time. It's like, I promise you, Formula One's not standing in a dirt parking lot in the mud.
For sure.
You know,
Oh,
we're not even Formula Ford. Like, we're not in the formulas yet.
Yeah.
And to start saying they're going to make this more professional, you should maybe start from the ground instead of starting from the top.
Yeah.
And just televising something that isn't ready to be televised. I'm not a marketing person. I'm not a television person, but there's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on. And the people I talk to that used to watch racing aren't watching racing anymore because it's a pain in the ass. In US, it's not terrible. I guess it's all Max, which is quite a few people have. In Canada, it's some other series and it's like $300 to get the pass to watch World Cup.
Is it?
And then in Europe, it's like, in Europe, it's like every country has a different service. It's just kind of messy. Like Red Bull did that well. I agree that Red Bull was a little bit stagnant and we were just kind of stuck in a rut, but for what they were doing, they did it really well.
Yeah. I mean, so my story of what I've been told is Red Bull had tried to propose some of these changes. UCI wasn't willing to do some of this stuff. I don't know,
So that is also a possibility because Warner Brothers and UCI are two totally different entities. And Warner Brothers can propose all they want, but UCI owns the racing.
Yeah.
So if Warner Brothers says, if Warner Brothers says 20 races and we're going to do this and this, and UCI is like, nah, then it's not going to happen. Right. So I mean, at the end of the year, they could just be like, we can't make it work. We're going back to the way it was. Or Warner Brothers can be like, this is dumb. We're done with this.
Yeah.
Wasting too much money on it.
Well, I got told that when Warner Brothers bought the series, and this is coming from like my TV background and on stuff, is they thought that they were buying basically soccer with this huge fan crowd, huge numbers. And then they were shopping around for the TV rights, right? Like they thought they bought this, they're going to just sell the shit out of TV rights. It came down to like I think it was 2023, and they had no one was willing to buy it and do any of the TV thing, and it caused a lot of drama, and that's where we ended up with the TV schedule. Someone has obviously talked them into, I guess, investing. I don't know what we want to call it. I don't know if they are investing. I'm not at these. You're at them. Is there another side that you're seeing on as far as investing?
Not as far as I know, but that's the big problem, is that nobody knows. Everybody's guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
The tough thing there that you started with, Austin, was that they thought that they're buying soccer.
Yeah.
Which soccer, #1 sport in the world, whatever, across all the nations. Mountain biking as a whole, sport of cycling, is massive. Is probably, they Google how many people ride mountain bikes a year or whatever. They see it. They see a number.
I don't think anyone Googled it. It was COVID times. They were
no.
sending it. Money was just flowing.
No,
Huge.
but yeah, exactly. And they saw these, whatever. If you were to look up the amount of people that ride mountain bikes, the number's much larger than the number that you would find if you see these TV numbers. Because I bet you not even 20% of people that ride mountain bikes even pay attention to racing.
Yeah.
And watch this stuff. And that
agreed.
the sport is mainly used as a recreational sport, whether they're riding the bike paths in Mammoth Mountain on the weekend because of bike rental, or if they're going to the local trail system. So I think that's the tough thing about this sport, is that it's not all about racing for most people, or not all about competing. If you're playing soccer, you're most likely competing to some
For
level,
soccer, yes.
because you're playing a game against another person or another team, and then you see the local team and you're like, oh, these guys are doing this better than I am. That's pretty cool.
The only argument I would have with that is obviously F1, right?
Yeah,
and
no, 100%. But F1, see, this is kind of where Jordy was saying, it's such an elitist sport as a whole that it's become this. It's not even become. It's been this thing where it's a spectacle to just attend these things, and it's a cool thing to go to. I went to the Monaco race a couple of years ago, and
I remember that.
Blew my mind. I mean, it's
Can't imagine.
90% of those people don't even care about the racing.
Yeah.
They
for the
just
party.
want to be there and say that they're there and dress to the nines, and it's incredible.
Yeah,
but
Burning Man, I get
they're
it.
not. Yeah, exactly. They're not selling the racing so much.
Honestly, like, that's probably road cycling as well, which Warner
Yeah.
Brothers has the rights to, I think. You know, it's massive companies with rich guys that are into putting into money. They're into cycling that they're not going to get out through marketing.
Yep, exactly.
And F1's the same. It's like, man, I've got a few $100 million. I'm just dying to buy an F1 team to go hang out in the paddock.
Yeah.
Wow. I
Haas
thought you
or
reduced
whatever.
suspension. I'm confused.
I'm just waiting until I can wear white pants to all these events and not have to touch anything.
It's coming. Okay. Apparently it's coming. You see in
Some
the
nice
document.
loafers. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do know this, and don't ask how I got these numbers, but from my understanding, Mountain World Cup, it generates 33 million views, eyes. You're talking
That's pretty
F1,
small.
that's like 201 million. You know, so I know that there is obviously a difference. That's why they had trouble selling it when they went in the door to, hey, we're going to sell it to Peacock. Peacock was like, yeah, no, you're not. Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
you think those numbers are pretty accurate? Where did you get?
I will not
numbers?
reveal my sources.
Cool. No, that's fine. Because there's some wild numbers being thrown out.
I will
that-
say they're knowing on some other stuff and working in TV, some of these numbers are also interesting, and I wonder how they're calculated fully. And I think the hardest part is the calculations of that, right? Is like, you're talking Red Bull was web. They weren't
It
like
was pretty easy. Yeah.
Yeah. So your numbers are probably actually pretty spot on with Red Bull, unless they're lying when they said their stuff. And then, but you're talking F1 is across multiple channels, and it's a very confusing thing, right? And I've never met anyone with a Nielsen box. Have you? That's how they get their
I've always
ratings in the
wondered about
US.
one of those.
they're counted in household as for 10 people if you have one.
I actually know somebody that does.
You really have
No
one?
way.
I don't have one, but
Oh,
I
no, you-
know somebody that lives close to me actually has one.
Really? Does he
And
have a sign on the window or like?
He probably should.
Yeah.
But
Does
no,
have
he
10
asked.
people in his family.
Nope, not even 10. But
There you go.
I know that
He gets
he does some testing stuff, and he's like watched a couple things that I've put out on various platforms, and he's like, hey, let me know if this actually changes or affects anything that's happening. And
You
I'm
got
like,
the inside.
yeah, I can ask him questions about that. I can report back.
Yeah,
for this
let's get that.
conversation.
Honestly, let's have him on because
Yeah.
like I need to get to the bottom of this.
He
on
rides
these
he
numbers.
rides
be
road
pretty
bikes.
cool.
He rides
Yeah.
road bikes, so
Oh
we
wow!
got-
Tour de
not-
France
not-
comes, get him over.
not mountain bikes, but
I have heard that like the web-based stuff is relatively straightforward, but when you go to something like Eurosport or one of the bigger channels that's shown in bars, that's shown in airports,
Yep.
it's like there's an algorithm to tell you how many people watch that.
Yeah.
And it could be wildly inaccurate, or it could be interpreted any which way you want it. Like if 500,000 people pass through that airport, they all
Yeah.
watch this screen. Like, I really don't think that happened.
yeah.
Yeah. From the TV side, I do know channels have paid for these statistic numbers to be upped when they go to sell it to be on direct
Yeah, of
TV
course,
or
of course.
the Verizon or whatever it is. So dude, I don't know. The numbers are all over the place, but either way, F1 has more numbers and they have eyeballs. That's why they're not
For sure.
just like Mercedes can afford to sponsor that
That
when
part of
they're
it's
not
obvious.
selling that car, right? I think maybe that's what they want with this. I don't know. I mean, but I was hoping to hear from you that it was like, yeah, we do see some investments. We got some better parking lots. I don't know, there is an espresso machine for you everywhere,
That we do have.
Just if George
no,
Assel's on her way. She's got the espresso machine.
Yes.
I haven't seen any improvement in the last 2 years so far. Maybe it's coming. I really hope that something's going to happen, but just the fact that all of the people that are making this work right now, which is the teams and the tech people like us and SRAM, and we're putting the money into the sport right now.
Yeah.
And we're getting boned. Like, we're paying more, we're getting way less information, and we're not getting anything in return.
Yeah, being sold the dream.
Yeah, for sure. It's somebody's dream, but it's not ours.
Hey, in 20 years though, okay? Just you got to hold on. In 20 years, it's coming around. You're going to be sitting with white pants on, talking to us again, telling us a completely different story. Oh, fuck, I didn't believe it.
Smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
In the VIP area.
Hey,
in the
boys.
VIP area, yeah. You'll just be monitoring everyone's suspension from your phone, changing the settings. Oh, he's about to hit the jump. Fuck him. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I don't know. It seems a little interesting. I want to believe that there's some better direct path and they're getting there, right? And these are the improvements. I'm a little confused on some of the shit, like with the teams. I do think that they should be that way, but then what the fuck does that mean for Pitcock? He don't have a team that's just going every weekend. Are we just literally going to rip out the guy who just won the Olympics?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of those cases, or some of the world's biggest brands that have supported the sport since its inception might not make it in.
Yeah.
So how does this work? And my feeling is that it's just way too much too soon. The basics weren't taken care of before these massive changes were put into it, or before they're trying to put them into effect.
Proposed. Yep.
Yeah. So I just worry that they're taking a step forward before they've even figured out where they're starting from. And that sooner or later, Warner Brothers is going to keep dumping money into this thing, not see a return, and just be like, meh,
We're done.
didn't work
Yep.
for us. Take
It
care,
is
you
scary.
guys. Back to your little dirt lots.
Well, then you can buy it really cheap, and we'll just reform it. It's going to be the Fox World Cups. We're making it happen. You know,
Man,
there's
I
got to
don't
be a
envy
team
those
manager
promoters.
meeting, right? There's got to be a team manager meeting somewhere along this line, or do you know any of that?
There's
Just
a lot
wondering.
of them. There's a lot of
Okay.
little satellites going on, and everybody's got different stories. But I think right now, WB's really tight-lipped about any kind of solid information.
Okay.
For whatever reason, which just generates rumors.
Yeah.
And makes
Well,
people
we are.
scared. Like, I've got budgets due,
Yeah.
and I don't know how many races are going to happen.
Don't have a schedule. You don't know if your team's going to get
Don't know how much it's
accepted.
going to cost to go, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of teams are like, well, we don't know, and budgets are due, so we're out. Like, we
Yeah.
can't say yes and then not do it. So we're just not
Yeah.
going to do it.
Hey, well, they're just out here trying to inflate numbers. They got kooks on podcasts talking about it, Pink Bike leaking articles. I mean, they're doing their
yeah.
job. Someone's
Okay.
doing their job.
The other thing I did see though, and then I do like, that's why I questioned. So the 140 to 160, and they also said only 36 millimeter forks. Like,
Right.
did they just say fuck all the suspension companies right then when they did that too?
Yeah,
Like,
basically.
fuck
That's
them all.
crazy.
Yeah, like you would think something that simple would have. That's why I'm like, in a team manager meeting, they would have been like, what, or at least a phone call to any manufacturer would have been like, okay, so just go fuck us, I guess.
In my experience at World Cup races, nothing ever happens from managers' meetings.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like everybody complains. Somebody says, "Oh, I don't mind," and they go, "Oh, okay, they don't mind. That's fine."
Okay.
Like, things just don't change very quickly with UCI, and I think they're so used to road
doing whatever
cycling
the
or
fuck they want.
cyclocross, where it's like everything can be enforced, everything's the same. I mean, there's a lot of rules going on there
Yeah.
that mountain bike stuff does not have.
Lever length, right? Or is it like
Yeah.
how far it can go out and stuff? I'm like, holy
Totally.
shit. Well, does that really
Saddle
fucking
placement.
affect it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know
But,
Spencer was really
is that
bummed when
guy
they
going to
took
come
the-
around and measure your fork stanchions and be like, you're out 36 and a half?
Seriously, like I mean, I guess you guys will just be changing the stickers. Fuck it. You know?
Exactly. Oh, that's our
yeah.
new 36.
Yeah. Well, it looks like a 40. No, it's not.
Nope.
Jordy won't be at the World Cups. He'll be in the factory taking stickers off and reapplying
Yeah,
new ones
exactly.
next year.
Yeah, your thumbs are fucked, dude. Those nails, like that is the worst.
I don't mind doing stickers. It's peaceful.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hey, easy there. Someone might be listening to this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, well-
that's crazy. There's no way that all of this stuff though will be put into play. There's no shot. Like the
No,
whole
not
suspension
in a year.
restriction and the fork diameter, like they clearly are out to lunch. They haven't even paid attention to what's happening in their sports right now. And yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it is
Yeah.
just AI written bullshit. Honestly.
Like if Scott shows up and they're like, well, we have a 120 bike. We don't have a 100 bike. Is
Yeah,
the UCI
exactly.
gonna be like, sorry, Nino Schurter's not
You're
racing
out.
this race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're done.
Scott, yeah, Scott is sitting sixth place of the team series and teams, so their team will be approved. But so they're just like, fuck it, we're not running an XC team
Yeah,
this
they
year.
don't have a 100 mil bike.
It's fucking out. Yeah. And you're really going to tell them to completely change it and get that ready for next year when they,
Right.
oh yeah, let's just call Taiwan. Let's get this shit fast tracked. We're
Yeah.
fucking going.
Because we're all just selling like it was COVID years.
Stop.
At the old cyclocross World Cups and even like local nationals and stuff, they have a restriction on tire width, and they got little white blocks that they put on your tires as you're lining up. And if your tires are too fat, they tell you to kick rocks.
You're out. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I guess you better have some extra wheels ready to go.
exactly. In the
Now
pit,
this
which
is going to
adds
be
another-
extra forks, extra suspension. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
Scott, it is not easy to get that shock off. So, yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. All right. Well, I was just wondering if it's mass hysteria in New York and you guys are all falling apart there and how bad it is.
Nah, this place is pretty awesome, actually.
Really?
I've never been Lake Placid. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Austin
fall
didn't
colors,
even
too.
Austin didn't even know it was a place.
I
like
had
30
no idea it
minutes
even
ago.
existed.
You
He was
haven't
like,
seen
"What is?"
the Lake Placid movies?
Hey, so I've heard of this movie. I've heard movies
Yeah.
of that. So this
Crocodiles
is it?
there.
Yeah. Is there
Yeah.
really? So, okay.
For sure.
Okay. So you guys are almost one step closer to Arkansas. You're already tuning your guys' self up.
Oh, man. That's
So
going to be a thing, isn't it? We're
have
going
I
to Bentonville sooner or later.
okay, well, I mean, I might know some stuff, but I guess I'm just asking, what have you heard? Have you seen
I've only heard rumors, and I can only speculate that that's the center of mountain bike money.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I heard it's drying up a little bit, but yeah. When you
I've
make
heard this as
1
well.
million every minute, I can see why they just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But I also heard that it's not from not even Austin source. It's not Bentonville.
It's
not.
not Bentonville. It's
No.
all right, I guess I'll just get shot after this and lose all my contacts, but Mina, have you heard of the town?
No.
Yeah, me either.
Should I have?
Yeah. No. Whole new town basically built for this. I mean, they're going pretty serious, like talking gondola going in, everything. Yeah, they got, if you have trail forks, you can maybe see some trails that are being put in right now and the GPS data in there. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be done for next year.
I don't think
I'm
it'll be
all
done next
for it.
year.
Like,
Yeah.
more good trails, have at it. Or even more bad trails that take coots off of good trails. Like, have at it.
Have at it.
Whatever.
You got
But-
suspension that will solve that for them.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's like mountain biking is a finite resource. There's not, it's like surfing, right? Except that
Yeah.
nobody wants to dress like a bike rider. Everybody wants to dress like a surfer.
True. Yeah. If you live in
But
California,
there's only
it
so
makes
many
sense.
places you can ride your mountain bike.
Yeah.
And,
A lot more
and
than you can
Bentonville.
surf, I feel like.
Oh, for sure.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Now, just in Bentonville alone. But yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's the vibe on the Lake Placid World Cup? It's the
Yeah,
first.
talk
Is
to
it the
us.
first or second round that they've done this year with? That's not everything together. I think it's the second round, right?
Well, they had the first two XC races in Brazil,
Oh yeah. Yep.
Racha, and
Yep.
whatever. I
Yeah.
forget all this stuff.
Those are by
immediately.
themselves.
Marizopa, what do they call? I can't forget. I
Ma-
forget.
yeah. Keep want to say Maricopa, but that's what that town in SoCal.
Arizona. Yeah. Oh, there's a town in SoCal
Arizona,
that
yeah.
too. Oh, okay. Yeah. How could you forget? We were in Maricopa County when we met, I'm hurt. I'm really hurt. But yeah, the XC
People
on
are
its own.
stoked here because it's not snowshoe, and a lot of people's original introduction to U.S. culture was snowshoe, which in some ways was such an awesome place. Like, it had the best fans. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the French are going to argue there, but
Mm,
people were so stoked on bikes at snowshoe, and everybody knew everybody, and they're like, oh, that's so-and-so, and he's got this and that, and he's in 35th, and if he comes in 5th at this race, I'm like, fuck, I don't know any of this stuff. But it was such a shithole. And they were price gouging for everything. There was no food. And it's just kind of a dump. Whereas this place is actually, it's pretty cool. The Lake Placid venue is beautiful. I mean, it's got the full Olympic training center and everything. Like, seeing those ski jumps as you drive by, they were like right across the street from us. It's just like, nope,
No.
that is ridiculous.
You could have put the downhill on it,
I've
It's
seen a
just
couple people
joyride.
try that.
Is there anything big enough for like a down? Could they build out downhill track or anything up there?
They have said that they're building a downhill track.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not the same mountain, which is also awesome because we're going to get another split venue, I feel like, where it's the same weekend, but not the same,
Yeah.
which means you're
Does that-
hiring double crews. So it's just twice as expensive.
Hey, fuck it.
It's way more than even having 2 weekends because you have to have 2
Yeah.
crews and 2 trucks. It's the worst thing you could do to any of us because it costs so much more money. But if they have another cool venue, that's great.
How did we do double Jordys at that? Are you just running back and forth?
I just don't go at all. Nobody, I don't do that much anymore, honestly.
This guy. Except for lose your bike. I think I watched a video or heard something about you losing your bike for 5 weeks in another country, or it ended up at a Walgreens and you were tracking it or something.
Oh yeah, it ended up all over the country. Like I lost 5 bags, and each one of them went somewhere different.
What?
I
Wow.
flew back to one of the airports in Ireland I don't know why I was in Ireland, and I was on the other side of the wall from my stuff, and they were like, "No, you can't get it."
Really?
And this was COVID, so like all the airlines shut down. Nobody would answer the phone. And Lufthansa was just like, meh.
And you could see it?
Yeah.
Like and they would not give it to
Yeah.
you.
Nope. There were cops right there like, no, you're not going through.
Hops?
So I just
Over
had
your-
to get back on the plane and fly back.
So you had the new live
Wow.
valve Neo in there and someone just got it and you don't even fucking know. Dude,
I got most of my stuff back,
Okay.
which was cool because I completely forgotten what I had, and it was like Christmas, like oh, that's pretty cool.
dang.
Oh, sweet. I love those jeans. But
Wow.
and I work for a big company that's awfully good about that stuff. So I went to the store and bought new stuff. What if it was just some random person or a small team and they're like, we lost
Yeah.
$20,000 worth of your stuff.
Good luck.
Take care. And then I tried to
Didn't-
claim it and they're like, oh, we don't pay for sporting equipment.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Dude, they're fucking gnarly. It's amazing that the airline, I've had my shit just fucking destroyed and they're like, oh yeah, that one's not covered. I'm like, what is covered? A toothbrush? Yeah, no fucking shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a mafia. Like
It's a
they're basically just going to mire you in minutia until you quit.
Literally.
They'll be like, nah. Well, who else can I talk to? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking gnarly. Yeah.
It is. It's really insane how they function.
So now you just ship your stuff.
Dude, I just shipped my bike from my house. I live part-time in BC. I shipped it 3 weeks before it needed to be here. It went to Georgia instead of Asheville. Then it went back to Seattle. Then it disappeared for a week. And then it showed up where it was supposed to be 3 weeks
that.
later.
Sounds
And it
almost
was
as messy as
just
the
like the
UCI.
bag is just smashed. Like, I don't know what they've been doing with it,
Wow.
but
I'm hearing
you just can't
a
win.
trend here. I can't like.
Yeah.
Can you not ship me shit? Like, can you have someone
Yeah,
else touch it
probably.
before it goes out? Like, how the fuck do we? It's
Probably
there's
a
gotta
good
be-
idea.
yeah. Do they know
Yeah.
your name at UPS, FedEx, or
That's
whatever
also very-
DHL?
Dude.
They fucking hate
Yeah,
you.
I don't argue with these people. I'm nice to them. Company card, ship it. I don't care. It's fine.
They fucking hate you. I guess.
Just get it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one of those new Patamelon steering dampers too, and I'd ridden it a couple times. It's like, this is the best thing ever. And it's like bent. So I'm just unboxing my bike. Like, cool. There's $500 down the drain.
It's the best bent thing ever now.
Yeah. It was really
Dang.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
How
Well,
so
Good luck.
how's all
But
the
I
all
do
the
ship and fly.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
could
you're
be
gonna
worse.
pay.
Maybe you
Yeah.
just need to have a private van, boat for you to get it across. Like maybe your own plane. It's dangerous.
I'd probably drive 12 hours to save a 2-hour flight. I'd much rather
Okay.
be in my car. Like, all your stuff's in there. You don't have to pack. Airports are stressful. Like, if you have one bag,
You
it's
have
fine,
to have
right? You're like,
status.
"Eh."
You have to have
I do.
global travel and status by now, right? You're like
for
first
sure.
class.
But even still, like, some of these airports, you're huffing a bike bag plus 3
Yeah.
giant duffel bags
Which is
From
such
some
a pain in the
random-
ass.
it's a random
It sucks.
rental car part, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're in Terminal 2. Didn't you know that?
That's other side.
That's 7 miles that way."
Yes. Wow. Okay, so there's just a whole story for travels for you that we could do. is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not good at it.
All right. Well, what was like, and I was, before you got on, Spencer and I were talking about kind of the history of World Cups coming to America and like how they worked out. So, like, for me, I'm still pretty new to this. So, snowshoe and now Lake Placid, like, where else and what has it been like in the U.S., I guess, for, World Cups?
Pretty grim. I mean, the first world champs was in Colorado, the very first.
Okay.
And I think after that, it got pretty Eurocentric. I mean, if you take out Canada, we haven't had much in the last 15 years or something.
Yeah.
I mean, MSA has been around, Bromont's been around, but
Wyndham.
Man, I miss Wyndham. I know people hated that place, but I loved it.
And that's it, though. Really?
Yeah, that's it, huh?
Is it just because of the
And
price of
snowshoe.
how much it costs to put one on, or?
I think, and I'm part of this too. It's like all of our infrastructure is European based.
Yeah.
So when you start introducing other continents, like EWS started doing this years ago, they just made it so hard and expensive for everybody. Like, I don't want to go to Australia and work out of a suitcase. It's not how I want to do my job. So in some ways, this Eurocentric thing makes sense. But if we can build up North America and have more good events and get a little more money in the sport, because just having more events doesn't help if you don't have any money to buy a second setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, snowshoe was the worst looking place ever. Like, just 4 or 5 white tents, and they all were kind of torn up. It just didn't look like a World Cup.
Yeah.
If you had brought somebody from Mercedes to that and be like, here's the pinnacle of our sport, and it's a line of 50 people with one pressure washer standing in the mud, and then they all leave because there's nowhere to go. It's like, that's not really going to bring in your sponsorship dollars.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was kind of similar to like MXGP tried to come over here and they were having issues, infrastructure, just like what you explained, and just getting the fans to be more involved. Like, was snowshoe pretty packed and all the other ones? Like, how packed is Placid right now?
Snowshoe was packed, yeah, on race days,
Really?
XC and downhill. There's really strong East Coast scene, and that was great. Right now Placid's empty, but it's Wednesday. Like,
No one's
Is it
usually there
Wednesday?
anyways, right?
It's
Yeah,
Wednesday.
it's Wednesday. Yeah.
yeah, it should pick up by Friday, and I'm expecting pretty big scene here. I think there'll be quite a bit of XC stuff going on.
Yeah.
And MSA is always pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great that a lot of the downhill guys are at US Open right now, which
Yeah.
is awesome for them because they get 2 races in North America and 2 good races and a new venue for them, Killington. But sucks for us because there's an XC race at the same time. So
Yeah.
it'd
Who
be great to be
picked the
able to do them
scheduling
all.
on that idea? I'm a little confused.
I don't know. I think it is probably pretty tricky to schedule all these things.
Yeah.
And if they would have done US Open a week earlier, then maybe somebody doesn't come. And you're talking about 3 weeks in North America. So it's hard. It's just money. Like, you just have to have more people and more stuff, which isn't going to happen right now.
Yeah. Right now it's a rough time. Yeah. Makes sense. All right. Well, shit. I feel like we've taken up enough of your time. What? You got to get, how are we doing? We good?
Almost dinner time.
I know. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we don't.
No, I'm all good. I got plenty of time.
You got plenty of time? I mean, I feel like you're sitting on the ground. Your ass probably hurts from the wood floor. I'm not 100% sure, you know?
This place, like, it's not the most comfortable furniture.
Oh, yeah, that little chair.
So you'd
behind
rather
it.
sit on the floor. All right. Tight.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it. Well, that's cool. So then you spend half the time BC and then where else?
Well, half. I spent a few months in BC, a few months in Santa Cruz, and then the rest is Europe.
Just travel.
Yeah.
Oh, Europe in particular.
Yeah.
Or just traveling race.
Just
going
traveling
races?
races. Yeah.
Out of the
Generally, the way the
suitcase.
schedules are, you're not going back to the West Coast very often. And the way my luck is with flying, I don't have any more to lose.
I love it. So then, but I mean, and obviously, from in Europe, it helps out better because you're not jumping that bad of time zones once you're there.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a big part of it. If it's 2 weeks, it's iffy to fly home for
Yeah.
me. Plenty of people I know are flying home for a week, but
Yeah.
I'd just be so spun doing that 3 or 4 times a year, which I already kind of do it.
I feel like you
3 or
probably
4
already
times a
do
year,
that.
but yeah. But I mean, we spend pretty long blocks in Europe. So I flew over for World Champs, and then there was Ludenville, and then we had 2 weeks at the Asheville office, and now we have 2 weeks here. So that's 6-week trip, and I did an 8-week trip before that. So you get acclimated. Not like I'm jet lagged all the time.
Well, you were just asking what day it was, so
That's just because I'm old.
Dude, I'm fully acclimated to Southern California, and I gotta figure out what day it is.
oh man,
It was great. Like, I don't know what day it is. I know I have to do this, but I'm not really sure what day that means it is.
Yeah, that just means you don't have a traditional job. That's fine.
It was
Yeah,
hard
that is
scheduling
for
you, by the
sure.
way. You were like,
It
"Hey
is.
man, next week might not happen," and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit."
We have a
But-
really small crew. Then our van broke down. Then, like, just everything's compounding to make it a little bit stressful.
Damn. All right. Any weather
Yeah.
coming in? No.
It rained all night, and it didn't rain the day, but it's pretty cold for me. I'm definitely a warm weather person. And tomorrow's supposed to be shit too, but then it's supposed to be nice and in the 70s, I think.
Okay.
I saw people.
Dude, rained every day in Europe.
Yeah.
I'm just so over the rain.
I saw everything up at Killington looks pretty wet too right now. So they'll,
really?
Yeah, it must have dumped there. And I think there's a big tropical storm coming from the south that I don't know when that's going to hit, but it's going all the way up the East Coast.
Oh,
Well,
fuck.
well, have fun.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great showing
Enjoy
for the
more
new
rain.
suspension.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's got to be a little annoying for you guys, right? Like you probably just redid I mean, are you redoing everyone's suspension every week, fresh oil, fresh seals, anyways, or is it
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah,
oh,
pretty
okay,
much.
okay, so it's typical, like moto then.
Yeah.
Okay, same strategy. All right, I've always wondered that how
Yeah.
deep it was. All right,
I
before
got
go.
one last question.
Well, I
Just
got one after you then.
Okay, we got a few more questions.
Okay.
XC seems to be doing pretty well. Downhill seems to be doing all right, especially in Europe. Does Enduro have much life left? I mean, I'm sure it'll continue on to some extent, but it seems like the Enduro hype has faded quite a bit. And I race mostly Enduro stuff, but I also haven't been to an EDR or anything like that in a few years now, and I don't hear many good things going on with the pinnacle of Enduro racing. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
I think, like, if we call what's happening right now Enduro or EDR,
Yeah.
it's dead.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on. There's a few really good riders, and that's it. And then there's a bunch of other people, and there's, like, last year all the talk was EEDR. It was e-bike everything, and now all of a sudden e-bikes are gone, and it's normal EDR.
Yeah.
It's like, again, people are trying to make a living here, and you're like, you're done next year, but you're going, oh, never mind. Let's do this way.
Yeah.
But you have to be part of a downhill team, or it's 35 grand or whatever it's going to be. I think as it sits, there's just nothing there.
Yeah.
There's a few athletes that everybody knows. Outside of that, it's like what are you marketing?
Yeah.
The coverage isn't great. You really don't get to know anybody. There's no personalities coming out of any of this.
Like the Red
To
Bull
me,
series.
enduro is what I want to do. Like, it's a participant sport.
Yep.
And when it was that way, it was awesome. And I think it could come back, but I don't think it doesn't have any legs as it is. It's one of those things where everybody's like, well, shit, we're in it. So we got to keep doing it, at
Keep
least for
doing
this year. Are you going to do it? Like, yeah, we're going to do it. All right. Well, we'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It seemed like people pulled out though this year. Quite a few players pulled out, teams folded, and then
Yeah.
sounds like we're gonna have even more trimming for next year with the EDR
Probably.
or with the enduro scene. So
Yeah.
it's a
I mean,
bummer, but
I've seen some that are cool. I went to a few this year. I went to one in Combloux, France, and the enduro was on Friday. Like, there were probably 10 people
yeah,
and maybe 5 tents in the paddock. Like, there was nothing. And then EDR was on Saturday or Sunday. Like, who the thinks this? Nobody's coming to watch an e-bike race. I'm sorry. It just, it's cool. Like, people want to ride their e-bikes around, but
And
how
all they
many of
put
them
is-
want to go do a power stage?
yeah.
They just want to do an enduro and not have to pedal.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's all they'll put in the videos of the power stage.
Yeah, like, wow, that was so cool. Like, I climbed that hill. And then you go watch a hard enduro and you're like, oh, that's pretty sick. That's hill climbing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is and it's wild because they're just like, yo, we're extincting EWS riders, I guess, and then we're gonna just all be e-bikes. And then now it's like, you know what? No, we're done with e-bikes. Fuck them.
Turns out
It's
the big money pulled out and we're done.
Yeah.
It's just why I don't know. You guys are definitely in this weird dancing show, and yeah,
I mean, yeah, like, whoever is at the pinnacle of this and is overseeing the money must be looking at it going like, well, 3 months ago you were saying this, and now you're saying this. It's a pretty wacky way to run a business.
yeah. I feel
It's rough.
I could feel the frustration there for sure. Like you definitely you're like, what the
Everybody
fuck is
really
going
frustrated.
on? Yeah.
And again, for us, we're a big company. We're gonna be okay. But a lot of these people are just scraping by and they're making passion projects out of teams.
Yeah.
And they're sitting here going, well, shit, I don't think I'm going to be able to race. If it's 35 grand to buy in, we're not going to have a team. So they're just pulling the plug.
Which is fucking wild.
Yeah. Most of
Yeah,
the
it's
racers
a
aren't even
bummer.
making a fraction of that.
That's
Right.
yeah. Yeah. It does seem, I don't know. That's why I was just like, I don't know. There's got to be some meetings that you guys are saying this stuff to them, or they not hearing? Is there a huge disconnect? I don't know. Obviously there is, but yeah.
I mean, I really hope that come December, whenever they decide to launch this, I'm going to look like an idiot. And they're going to be like, we told you, why didn't you have faith? Here's all the money. Here's the schedule. Here's the venues. I'll be like, whoa, I am dumb.
We'll
I'm
do a
not going to talk
podcast
shit.
right then, and we'll have
Yeah,
to have you apologize.
I will
and,
call
yeah.
in and apologize to Warner Brothers.
Yes. We'll try to get one. We'll see if they're not even making comment to Pink Bike. So I'm sure we have a very strong chance of them making a comment to us, especially now that I'm sharing their numbers across the huge podcast outlet that we have. I mean, I'm fucked for sure. Yeah.
Yep. You're done.
Yep. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
all right. We were never good in the first place.
Story of my life. All right. So then I guess before we let you go, my question is like, how much further, I mean, a few years ago, it's kind of probably an easy question to answer. It was like, all right, well, wireless is coming, and more like computer tech's coming to suspension. Like, what the fuck is next? I want to, is it where we just do nothing and we just fucking hit the button, that shit airs it up and it just goes? Like, what is next?
You're probably not far off.
Oh, so you guys
I
already
think-
have that. Okay.
Yeah. We have onboard compressors.
Can I get one? I need that.
I think it is like obviously what we want to do is make the experience better. And if electronics do that, that's great. I think one thing that is definitely going to happen is some form of data will be involved in an app and electronics in your suspension. Like, there's no way around that. That's what people struggle with the most, is just setting up the basics.
Yeah.
And I'm sure little by little that stuff's all going to get incorporated. We're not there to do it well yet. A lot of people do stuff. It's just not any better than it was without the electronics. So
Yeah.
adding stuff for no point is not great.
So, I mean, I guess we're going to hit a little bit of maybe a null for a little bit. I guess not like saying a big null, but it's like, there's not a huge, like, I feel like it's a pretty big step to go wireless and having these type of things. Right. And almost, have basically a little Jordy in your back pocket. Right. So telling you some type
way to
of
put
data.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they
Aim
should
a
have
lot
called
higher than that.
They should have called the app Jordy. And kind of give you some inside info, but like, yeah, I don't know. Like, is there going to be a better coating than Kashima? Like, I don't, like what's going to be the next thing, right? Like, it's like, we're done with air. We're all going springs because they're so light. They're carbon fiber. I don't know. It just seems
there are
like
some carbon springs we looked at.
Oh, okay.
They don't really. Nothing else has worked that well.
Yeah. Yet.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Jord-E. That's the next product.
I think we're going to have a side app. I'm going to figure this out.
I'm trademarking
You
that.
better get that domain right now.
All right. Nice. Well,
Mechanic.
you got any other? I mean, we could go on about Kashima, which I'm also a little
Are
bit.
you all for it or against it?
Oh, fuck. It makes my bikes look so good. I'm fucking it. So I'm super myth. I mean, I had this conversation with Sean too, a little bit. Like, I've heard these things about having the, running the black ones and the black coating and DLC and just different things with friction and all this different shit. But I don't know. And I've had this conversation with people that Spencer's friend and I've met over at like DVO, and it seems to be like this interesting hot topic about Kashima and different,
or just coatings in general.
different coatings. Yeah, coatings would probably be
Yeah.
a better thing
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that, right? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Coatings are pretty fascinating. I promise you that if you take apart like a factory moto engine, you're going to find Kashima parts inside.
Yeah.
Like, it is used at really high levels as a friction coating still.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a functional performance advantage there. Whether you notice it or not is up for debate. It's way more durable than a black DLC or an oxide coating. Like, if you build like a black shock and a Kashima shock and run them both for 10 hours and dump out the oil, the black shock has left the coating in the oil.
Oh, really?
100%. Like, it's black. Forks as well. They get way dirtier. Kashima does not do that.
That's why my service intervals are like, years.
Exactly.
They're
Now,
not even hours. There's just years. It's
That being said, you still see some Kashima coming through pretty rough every once in a while.
okay.
The oil's
Okay.
just that much
But-
golder.
I mean, Loris always wanted Thai nitride, and I kept trying to explain to him we couldn't do it on aluminum forks, but I'm sure there's something we could have done.
Always. Okay. So Kashima, we don't see any better coatings in the next 10 minutes or the next hour, day,
Not in the next
week.
10 minutes, no.
No. Okay.
I think
Okay. Shit.
we're always balancing costs as well, and when Kashima's already expensive, like, it is expensive.
And you guys have to pay,
So-
I'm sure, a trademark for it too, right? Or
Oh,
how
for
it
sure.
works?
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
to send that stuff away to be plated, treated, anodized,
Okay.
whatever you want to say.
I mean, I'm in. I'm
Impregnated.
fucking in. It makes the bikes look fucking sexy. Okay. And that's really what matters to me. It's, it's got to look good.
I'm with you. Yeah.
I'm not the
You
fastest,
are-
but I look fucking great on the trails.
You are the best consumer. You go slow as hell, and you got the
Yes.
nicest shit.
I'm glad you're finally fucking admitting it, you know? Spencer sometimes
always
tries to
admitted
like,
this.
you know, rev me, like, you know, help me, tell me. He's like, no, dude, I didn't even check the air in this, nothing. And he just like fucking will throw the KOM down on the trail that I ride every fucking day. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done. You're not even invited to ride with me anymore. Go fuck off. Go stay on your side of the town. I'm done. Like, no, no, no. And
It's
me over
super
here, I'm
frustrating.
got the shock pump with me, fucking testing every time. Oh, I fucking feel it. I know it's a difference. So, yeah.
I have 0 factory Kashima coated forks on my bikes also. Of all the Fox bikes that I have
No,
There
you
you go.
have
It
one.
doesn't make a difference.
You have one.
Nope.
Epic Evo.
Oh, you're right. I do
Yeah,
have an
that's
Epic Evo.
fucking right.
It does have
Yeah,
it does
that's
have
right.
Kashima coating. Yep. Gotcha. That's a factory fork.
That's right. Yeah. But besides that, he has no S Works ISO.
Yeah,
It's
I have no
pretty
extra
weird.
forks.
Like I don't even know if the speed is
Expert. They're all expert build.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
beside
I'm
the
the
point.
same way with moto stuff. Like, I'm calling all my friends, like, what are you running? How does this work? They're like, why do you even care? Or like, I've been really trying to do enduro stuff, and those guys are all just like, I don't know, I just run the stock stuff.
What?
No, I got I actually have a Kashima WP shock now.
What?
I had somebody build it. Yeah, like K-Tech
That's
makes
wow.
Kashima body and resi. Cool.
Sounds pretty
That's gonna
sick.
make me so much better. Nope. Turns
Wow.
out still can't get up that hill.
You're going slower. You
Okay,
actually
I
don't
will
make
tell
it.
you. So like in moto, it is a difference, but you really have to know what you're looking for. Really, like
Same with bikes.
I don't know. I feel the difference. It just feels better when I'm riding up it. On the moto, it doesn't feel like until you know. Like I know. Yeah, I don't know.
Till you know, you don't know.
All right,
That's the best answer for
I'll-
that.
I'll just try to pretend like you actually know what you're
In
feeling
moto,
when you're on
I
your bike.
fucking can tell you the feeling
Oh.
difference if we hit sections. On a mountain bike, I fucking couldn't tell you.
Okay, thank you. That's
I
my
will-
point.
I can tell you though, like for carbon bars and things like that, but that's just because I've broken my wrist so many times and different feelings and grips and things like that. But yeah, I know it's weird. I can tell the difference, but that's where I really feel it.
All right.
With grips
Yeah.
and bars.
Grips and
I'm a big
bars.
grip guy too. Yeah.
People make fun of me on
Always
it, but
changing.
yeah,
I envy those people that can ride anything. Like, yeah, I'll borrow your bike. Fuck no, I'm not borrowing your bike. I'll just not ride. I gotta ride
thank
my
you.
bike.
Fucking thank
That's
you.
amazing.
I'll go
Spencer. Yes, thank you. Fucking seriously, like Spence. It's okay. I'll give you a good one. Spencer, I was like, hey man, you ever got a fitment before? Like over at Specialized, got the whole retool thing and thing like that. He's like, no, dude, I just always measure my seat and just go on, dude. And I'm like, I'm talking about how it's like world changing for me. Like I'm a different athlete after Spencer over here could probably get the bike out of the box, don't even check the air pressure, and just fucking hit the trail and still beat me. It's horrible.
Well,
It's
that's not exactly saying that much. No
damn,
offense, Austin.
damn. But I mean, it's like I don't even know how you feel comfortable on that. Like it just
Maybe I would have been that much better of a racer if I spent the
Should've
money
done
to get a
moto.
fit.
I
yeah.
doubt it. I think
Don't.
I
know.
still would have been
no,
tire filler.
and
That's
not
just
in a negative way, but like,
Some of those people are like that, right?
yeah, for sure. Some of those people are just like, I don't care. I'm just gonna run it. And other people are just gonna fuck with you for days and days.
Spencer. That's Spencer.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Honestly, like Jackson isn't far off of that.
Really, that's
Like
sick
we'll
to
mess
hear.
around a little bit and he'll be like, I just got to hit that section better.
Yeah.
Whereas other people are like, your shock needs to hit that section better.
Your shot. Yes. No,
That's cool. That's honestly really cool to hear.
Yeah.
But is
I
that
mean-
just because younger?
No, he's just a talent, dude. I mean, that's just
Yeah, I think it's just his mindset. It's like some people helps them to focus on external factors and blame other stuff. And some people are like, I just got to do it.
Yeah. There's because and I hate to bring it back to moto, but like in moto, it's like the younger guys, fucking, you could just send them out there on whatever, sags off, everything like that. And they will fucking still have the fastest lap time. But then when they get to 450, they obviously understand more and how to test and
Yeah.
different things like that. Is that probably the same thing you see as well?
For sure. It's a double-edged sword, right? Like a lot of these guys, you'll bring them in and you'll be like, dude, what are you doing? Like wrong spring, wrong this, wrong that. And they're like, holy shit, that's amazing. But then they'll be back the next day and the next day and the next day. You're like, this works once, and then we can fine tune some stuff, but I can't make 100% change every day. And then it starts to get in your head. It's like, if I have a problem, I go see this guy.
Yeah.
It's not me. And that's where things start to go haywire.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
I've watched a few moto guys flip out
Yeah.
at test tracks, blaming the
I can
product
only
and stuff,
imagine.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's gnarly.
Do you, I mean, not to blow anyone's name out, but do you get to that level? Like, because I've seen it in moto. It's like,
We
dude, they
do.
will fucking fire the suspension guy right there.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Wow.
do, but not frequently.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's happened. It happened recently, but for the most part, most of the people that we work with are pretty good and level-headed. Like those dollar amounts just aren't there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that
exactly.
extra pressure and that like being brought up as from a toddler to be a millionaire and ride your moto is not ingrained in these people. It's still pretty gypsy. So it's like there's still quite a bit of self-reliance and not kind of blaming everybody outside of you for your dysfunction.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is our fault. Like we fuck stuff up. It's rare, but it does happen. And we have made some bad products and definitely had some struggles. But in general, we're run a pretty tight ship.
I mean, I got some Float X2s I'd like to talk to you about a little bit later. But
Man.
and I have my theories on why the fuck I have so many of them in my garage. But yeah,
Those things were the nightmares of many a year.
I have this crazy theory that the shafts are getting bent. That has to be what it is. Like, you guys would put brand new seals in it, and it would be like a week later, and the things would still be losing air. And I'm like, what the?
Wow. Just have
We don't
somebody
have to talk
take
about
apart a new one and take apart an old one, and you figure out immediately what the problem was.
I guess I just called the wrong people.
I feel like he just told
there's
you a
some
lot there,
really-
Austin.
Yeah. That's the other bummer about bike stuff is there is some absolutely horrendous information out there.
Yeah.
It's hard
can't-
because I'm always bitching like, would you just watch a fucking YouTube video? You did it wrong. And then they're like, oh, I watched this guy. And like, oh man, this guy,
Well, that guy
this guy's
has
dumber
no
than you
idea.
are.
Yeah, exactly.
There was one on the Float X2, like the new one versus the old one. He's like, obviously Fox did this and the pressure's lower and that's why the new shock is better. And I'm like, dude, you just missed like 7 completely different parts, different valving, different this, different that. But it's obviously Fox just trying to put one over on you.
And what's even crazier is that these people have massive audiences that listen to them and think that their opinion.
If you spout negativity and in a nice, straightforward way, people are like, that guy knows this shit. Whereas if you're like, no way, this thing's totally different, it works great, people are like, that guy's an idiot.
Yeah, he's a sellout. Yeah,
dude, it's kind of, dude,
crazy.
So that's kind of funny because I was listening on Pulp the other day and they were talking about how like the athletes that are actually, we've always begged them to be honest. Like we had the typical Dungey era where it was like, yep, my bike was great. Well, you just fucking, yeah. And then now we have these athletes that are being completely honest and it's like they're getting fried for it. Like, why is it that there's this guy on Instagram, the guy he was like, well, that's a big fucking excuse. It's not an excuse. He's just telling you that his bike wasn't working. He wasn't feeling good. Couldn't corner this weekend. But we're destroying athletes for that type of stuff. It's kind of interesting. And like, they don't want to be honest anymore, you know?
I think people are just assholes. Like,
I'm agreeing.
Almost everybody online is a dick. If you're commenting online, it's almost 90% negative.
You're the problem. Exactly.
Yeah,
well,
you are the problem.
We do have a comment right now on our live stream, and someone's asking.
Great.
They want to know: were you surprised by the rider who blew you up?
No. Not at all.
No. Okay.
So,
we don't.
Somebody obviously knows who it was.
Yeah, this is someone named Boston Dawn mountain bike. If you know a
Oh,
Boston or a
I
Dawn.
remember Don. Yeah.
He's asking. So, and then someone named Silverback is saying that don't ever expect your luggage to arrive from Delta. So, I don't know if you can confirm or deny that one as well.
Dude, I think if you stop using any airline that ruins your life, you're just not going to be able to fly.
You won't. You
Because
won't.
They're all gonna
the
disappoint you.
same.
It
Yeah.
is. You're screwed. You're fucked. Yeah.
And then it's like, it's classic because nobody at the airport works for the airline. They all work for the airport.
Yeah.
And then you call the airline to find your shit, and they're like, well, that's Swissport. They run the airport. And then you talk to them, and they're like, yeah, you got to call Lufthansa. They're the ones that lost your luggage.
Yeah, but
Like, as
somehow
long as there's somebody else to blame, you're good.
the person at the airport somehow has the power to upgrade you to first class, though, or give you a ticket
exactly.
or not.
Or take your money.
Yeah, take your money, but they don't have no power to find your bag, get it back. I love it when they give you the little sheet too, and they're like, which one does it look like on here? And you're like, none. It's not like that. And then you're like, well, describe it for me. And I'm like, well, it's fucking black and it has zippers, okay? And it has wheels, all right? We're going to fucking find this. And it has, you know what? It has one of my fucking tags on it that you know.
Yeah.
You scanned it.
And my
how do you-
AirTag is beeping.
Yes. Give me, yeah. I just, no, it's, yeah, don't even, fuck them. But yeah, cool. Well, thank you for answering our YouTube followers. They have really good, strong questions, just like us. But yeah, dude, I appreciate your time, Jordy, and digging in on this and every little thing. And it's kind of interesting because the UCI thing, it kind of hit me as a shock as well. And then I've also texted because I know a few race teams and managers in this thing, and they were kind of like, I had got mixed answers. They were on board, they're fully believed, they're drinking the Kool-Aid, or it was like, what the fuck is going on here? And yeah, it's good to get your opinion on this.
Yeah, it is just my opinion.
Yeah, we're on the internet. We're the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry. We only have like 750 subscribers, so no one's going to give a fuck about what we say. And yeah,
I'll
if
get
someone's
Fox
coming
to pump this out. Tag the
Oh,
UCI. I don't think it's UCI.
yeah.
You know, I think they're just sitting there going like, no.
Yeah, let's try it.
It's your
Not
money.
like they don't have their problems with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, we won't blame them. I don't know who we can blame. Someone.
There's somebody big in there.
All right. I don't know if you've done this before, but when you leave, I don't think exit the app or don't close it so it still uploads. We've had that issue and we've fucked up for sure.
Yeah. Dude, I did one of these in Canada and it took 37 hours to download. I just had to leave my iPad plugged in there. So this one looks better.
Well, I paused your upload and now I've restarted it, so you're fucked.
Okay.
So, yep.
Okay, that's all right. I'll just leave this plugged in and good.
Yeah, 69 hours later, let me know.
If it's 37 hours and your checkouts in the morning, just leave your iPad, please.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Take one for the team, okay? Take one for the team.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, dude. Thank you so much.
Dude, thanks so much, you guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
See you soon.
See ya.